In the 1940s, as the British Empire was dismantling itself across the Middle East, Dubai's only connection to commercial aviation was a flying boat stop on the edge of a creek, where Imperial Airways and later BOAC touched down on their route between Britain and Karachi. The nearest proper airfield was a Royal Air Force base in neighbouring Sharjah. Dubai itself handled barely a handful of flights per year. The entire Emirates economy ran on pearl diving and modest trade, generating revenues so thin that the ruling family couldn't afford to pave the road to the airstrip. Aviation experts at the time considered Dubai a geographic dead zone for air travel, too close to established hubs in Bahrain and Karachi to justify investment, too small to generate meaningful passenger demand. The consensus was unanimous: Dubai would never become an aviation city. For 7 decades since, that prediction aged about as poorly as any forecast in modern transport history. Emirates, launched in 1985 with only 2 leased aircraft, grew into one of the world's largest international airlines. But Dubai is also home to Flydubai. In November 2025, the carrier most people have never heard of signed memorandums of understanding for up to 250 Airbus A321neo aircraft, including 100 options, and for 75 Boeing 737 MAX jets with options for 75 more, commitments worth tens of billions of dollars at list prices. That carrier wasn't Emirates, it was Flydubai, an airline operating from the same airport, under the same chairman, Sheikh Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum, owned by the same entity, the Investment Corporation of Dubai. These orders, combined with an existing commitment for 30 Boeing 787-9 Dreamliners and an existing backlog of undelivered 737 MAXs, push Flydubai's total order pipeline past 400 aircraft, including options. That makes Flydubai one of the largest single airline commitments in commercial aviation history. Yet, this is a carrier with fewer than 100 planes right now. 400-plus jets won't build a second Emirates. 400-plus jets don't make sense for a regional budget carrier. 400-plus jets seem to defy every principle of fleet planning for an airline this size. Yet, Emirates, the most recognized airline brand on Earth, isn't alarmed. It's the opposite. Emirates is counting on it. So, how can a carrier most travelers have never flown quietly reshape Gulf aviation from the inside? To understand why Dubai bet billions on Flydubai, we need to understand the structural limitations that Emirates has never been able to fix on its own. Emirates operates one of the most powerful hub-and-spoke networks ever constructed. Passengers from Sydney connect through Dubai to reach London. Travelers from Johannesburg stop in Dubai en route to Bangkok. The model works because Dubai sits within an 8-hour flight of approximately 2/3 of the world's population. Geography is the product. But the model has a blind spot. Emirates has long flown wide-body aircraft exclusively. The fleet has consisted of Airbus A380s and Boeing 777s, with Airbus A350s now joining, planes designed to carry 350 to 615 passengers per flight. These aircraft are magnificent long-haul machines. They are also terrible for thin routes. Consider a city like Chisinau in Moldova or Peshawar in Pakistan. Each generates genuine demand for connectivity to Dubai, but not premium enough, not enough volume. Business travelers require access. Families want affordable connections to the broader network, but none of these cities can fill a 350-seat widebody with sufficient frequency to justify the operating costs. Emirates tried for years to manage this through scheduling tricks, seasonal adjustments, and premium pricing, but the math never worked. Sending a 777-300ER to a secondary city with 140 passengers on board isn't just unprofitable, it's economically destructive. The result was a growing gap in Dubai's network. Emirates connected to the world's major cities brilliantly. London, New York, Sydney, Tokyo, and Singapore all receive multiple daily frequencies. But the secondary cities, the tourism markets just beginning to emerge, the destinations with limited airport infrastructure, these were left untouched. Each one represented passengers that Emirates couldn't economically serve, but desperately wanted flowing through Dubai. By the mid-2000s, Dubai's leadership recognized that Emirates alone couldn't complete the network. In 2008, the government of Dubai established Flydubai. Operations launched on June 1, 2009, with 2 Boeing 737-800 aircraft flying to Beirut and Amman. The premise was deliberately modest, a low-cost, narrow-body carrier focused on short-haul regional routes that are a short hop away from Dubai. What appeared to be a standard budget airline launch was actually something far more calculated. Flydubai was never designed to compete with Emirates. It was designed to complete Emirates. The narrow-body 737, carrying up to 189 passengers in its densest configuration, could operate profitably into precisely the cities that Emirates wide-bodies could not. The operating cost per flight hour dropped dramatically, runway requirements shrank, airport infrastructure demands fell to levels that secondary cities could actually accommodate. Within 5 years, Flydubai was operating into destinations Emirates had never seriously considered. Secondary cities across Pakistan, India, and Central Asia, points in Eastern Europe, the Caucasus, and East Africa. By 2025, Flydubai was serving 140 destinations. More than half of those destinations are places Emirates does not fly to at all. The combined network, Emirates plus Flydubai, created the single most comprehensive hub operation in global aviation, covering routes from ultra-long-haul premium markets down to thin regional connections that no other Gulf carrier could match. In 2017, Tim Clark, president of Emirates, described the aspiration as a greater joining of the hip. The codeshare partnership that followed wasn't merely commercial, it was architectural. Passengers booking on Emirates could be routed onto Flydubai Metal for the final leg, connecting seamlessly through Dubai International. The airline carried 15.7 million passengers in 2025 and posted a net profit of $531 million on revenues of $3.7 billion. This is not a budget airline struggling in Emirates' shadow. This is the other half of a single strategic organism. In 2023, Flydubai ordered 30 Boeing 787-9 Dreamliners. This was the airline's first ever wide-body order. For a carrier that had spent 14 years defining itself exclusively through narrow-body operations, the Dreamliner order represented a fundamental identity shift. Then came November 2025. At the Dubai Air Show, Flydubai signed up to 250 Airbus A321neo aircraft, breaking its all-Boeing fleet legacy for the first time. The very next day, Flydubai signed a Memorandum of Understanding for an additional 75 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft, with 75 options. The combined commitment pushed the total order pipeline past 400 aircraft including options. For context, that's more planes than most national flag carriers operate in their entire fleet. Air France flies roughly 230 aircraft. British Airways operates around 300. Flydubai, a carrier that didn't exist 16 years ago, has committed to numbers that rival those fleets. The significance of Flydubai's orders isn't about building a bigger budget airline, and it isn't really about competing with Emirates. It's about what these aircraft can do to the entire structure of Gulf hub competition. You see, Flydubai doesn't attempt to replicate what Emirates does. Emirates will continue operating its A380s and incoming Boeing 777-9s on premium long-haul routes. The passengers who want first-class suites to London or business class to Sydney will continue flying Emirates. That's the vast majority of the premium long-haul market. What Flydubai does is something no competitor in the Gulf can match at this scale. It builds the connective tissue underneath the premium network. Every new destination Flydubai adds, whether that's Iași in Romania, Damascus in Syria, or Nairobi in Kenya, represents passengers being pulled into the Dubai ecosystem who would otherwise connect through Istanbul on Turkish Airlines or Doha on Qatar Airways. The 787 Dreamliners, expected from late 2027, extend this logic further. Routes in the 8 to 10 hour range that are too thin for an Emirates 777 but too long for a 737 suddenly become viable. Secondary European cities, emerging Asian markets, deeper African penetration. These are the routes that feed the hub without requiring wide-body economics. Most hub competitors cannot replicate Flydubai's role immediately, and here's why. Qatar Airways operates its narrow-body A320 family aircraft within its mainline fleet. There is no separate brand capturing secondary markets independently. This means every thin route Qatar serves completely internally for resources against premium long-haul flying. The economics are structurally different. Etihad Airways in Abu Dhabi faces a similar challenge. While Air Arabia Abu Dhabi exists as a joint venture low-cost carrier, it operates on a smaller scale and different model than the deeply integrated Emirates Flydubai system. There's no equivalent to Flydubai's level of fleet commitment and network coordination feeding traffic into Abu Dhabi. Turkish Airlines, arguably the closest structural competitor, operates both wide and narrow bodies under two brands from Istanbul, including the low-cost carrier, AJet. The dual-brand separation gives Dubai a pricing flexibility and operational agility that single-brand competitors cannot easily achieve. Bilateral air services agreements present another barrier. Flydubai's expansion into Tier 2 Indian cities, for instance, is constrained by seat caps that India's DGCA enforces to protect domestic carriers. Each new market requires years of diplomatic negotiation. First-mover advantage in securing these bilateral rights creates a durable competitive moat. Then there's the political flexibility. Flydubai maintained flights to Israel's Ben Gurion airport during the Israel-Hamas conflict, when virtually every other carrier withdrew. It was among the first UAE carriers to resume service to Damascus. The willingness to fly where others won't isn't recklessness, it's strategic network density. Every politically complex destination that Flydubai serves represents a market that competitors cede by default. The passengers on those routes don't disappear, they flow through Dubai. Yet the orders still seem oversized until you understand what's being built on the ground. Al Maktoum International Airport, known as Dubai World Central or DWC, is undergoing a $35 billion expansion. The completed facility will feature 5 runways and 400 gates, designed to handle up to 260 million passengers annually at full build-out, with an initial capacity of 150 million when the first phase completes around 2032. That initial capacity alone represents a roughly 60% increase over the current throughput of Dubai International. Flydubai isn't ordering 400-plus aircraft for today's Dubai, it's ordering them for the Dubai that will exist when DWC reaches full capacity. The airline is positioning itself as the anchor tenant for an airport designed to become the largest aviation hub on the planet. Currently, Flydubai operates primarily from Terminal 2 at Dubai International, with selected flights also using Terminal 3 since 2018 to facilitate code-share connections. But the operational separation between terminals still creates friction. Connecting passengers must sometimes transfer between terminals, dealing with different baggage policies and service inconsistencies. DWC eliminates this friction. A purpose-built megahub allows seamless integration between Emirates' long-haul widebodies and Flydubai's regional narrowbody network. The architecture creates something unprecedented, a dual-brand airline system operating from a single unified facility, covering every market segment from ultra-premium intercontinental to budget regional under coordinated scheduling. The A321neo order makes particular sense in this context. The aircraft offers greater range and higher capacity than the 737 MAX, allowing Flydubai to push into routes approaching 6 hours with improved economics. Diversifying suppliers also de-risks the fleet strategy. Boeing's chronic delivery delays had forced Flydubai to cancel route launches throughout 2024. By splitting orders between manufacturers, Flydubai ensures that production problems at one factory don't ground the entire growth plan. The aviation industry has always measured airlines in categories. Full-service carriers occupy the top tier, low-cost carriers sit below. The boundary between them seemed permanent. Flydubai is systematically dismantling that boundary. In 2013, the airline introduced business class, a product that has since evolved to include lie-flat seats, directly mirroring what full-service carriers offer on short-haul routes. Business class uptake grew in 2024 and 2025, carrying nearly 500,000 premium passengers. In 2023, the 787 Dreamliner order signaled premium economy would join the future product mix, later confirmed in 2025. The airline now offers code-share connectivity with Emirates and prices certain routes within striking distance of Emirates fares. But this tension may be deliberate rather than accidental. Flydubai doesn't need to match Emirates' service quality. It needs to be good enough that code-share passengers don't reject the connection. The airline occupies the uncomfortable middle ground between budget and premium, precisely because that's where the strategic value lies. Too luxurious and it cannibalizes Emirates. Too cheap and it damages the brand architecture. Sheikh Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum chairs both airlines. The investment corporation of Dubai owns both. The network is coordinated, the code shares are integrated, and the fleet orders are clearly sequenced to complement rather than conflict. Every competitor sees two airlines, Dubai sees one system. The question isn't whether Flydubai is the anti-Emirates, it's whether the rest of the industry has realized they're actually the same thing. Hey, before you go, the YouTube algorithm thinks you're going to like this video next, so why not check it out?